Hey everyone, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS and Ascension. And can you believe that we're about to embark on our last major adventure of the game? In this episode, we're going to start our conquest of Abazigal's Lair, the last dungeon we're going to go through. That is a weird feeling, realizing that we are approaching the end of the playthrough for real. But before any of that, let's do this quick level up on Sir Animan. His last one, in fact, and this is not going to be a spectacular ending to his leveling career, and it's basically the same situation we've witnessed before on Kiranai, with Animan's last level up being 1 million experience points away and unattainable for him due to his fighter levels. And we're also going to have to set some stuff up on Imoen because we're not going to rest. I figured it would be way more interesting if we had to deal with the first portion of the upcoming adventure with just the remainder of our resources we have left after our battle against Sendai. And that is actually quite a few spells, but the two main consequences of such a state of affairs are going to be that we're not going to have the perfect elemental resistances at our disposal that normally we would have if we were allowed to change our spells here and rest, and also we are not going to have any chaotic commands active, which is going to play a role in a couple of different ways. But anyway, let's set up this spell sequencer on Imoen, and this is going to consist of 3 secret words like usual, just so that we can have a nice dispelling package. And also we're going to set up a spell trigger on her, and since we are not going to rest, it's not going to be perfect, but it should be useful enough, and depending on the situation. We're going to place a Pierce Magic, a lower resistance into it, which are the 2 main spells, and then the third one doesn't really matter all that much, but I think it's going to be Remove Magic. So with this one, we're going to be able to quickly reduce the magic resistance of an opponent by 50%, 30 by lower resistance, and 20 through Pierce Magic, and dispel one of their spell protections, and also perhaps have a chance to do something with Remove Magic, depending on the state of their magical protections. Alright, so now we can get back to our adventuring, and we're going to head directly to Abazigal's Lair. We're not going to make a stop in Mcathran. Basically, this is all going to unfold, of course, as we progress through, but in the middle of this adventure, we are going to actually be forced to go back to Mcathran, because of all of the different changes that SCS makes to this place, and it does make a lot of them. It basically improves Abazigal's Lair immensely. But yeah, we're going to have to go back to Mcathran at one point, and there we're going to just conclude our business over there, recharge our wands, I think, you know, change our spells, replenish our supplies, and return to Abazigal's Lair once again with renewed vigor, I guess. And then we are going to have, you know, some better suited spells, I guess, for the place. But here what we're going to do is well, first let's talk a little bit about our equipment. I already have some stuff prepared on Senashira, and Jaheira received the Wongfei's Ion Stone that improved her hit points by 10 in comparison to her Helm of Balduran that also has a +5 hit point boost, and now her health pool is 126, which is not that bad. With all of these investments that we have made into Jaheira's health pool, it starts to look not so bad anymore, and she is also going to be wearing this Cloak of Displacement that we have transferred from Animan, just so that she can have a little boost to her save versus breath. And that's because Animan has a big boost to that save, thanks to his Belt of Inertial Barrier, and that save is going to be pretty important in our next battles, because it is not going to be much of a surprise, but this is going to be the Dragon dungeon, basically, especially with all of the changes that SCS makes to it. And this is not really a big reveal, of course. This is going to be confirmed moments from now in our first encounter here. And if you remember, when we were in Mcathran way back, we have heard some rumors about some sightings of dragons being reported, and yeah, we're going to be able to confirm those rumors once we proceed ahead. But before we do so, let us first buff up a little bit. This is not going to be a lengthy buffing up session, since of course we don't have our chaotic commands active anymore and any of these long-lasting protections to dispense one by one. Of course, you know, because of our travel from Sendai's Enclave, we have lost our chaotic commands and many other buffs, and basically first we're going to just drink a potion of invulnerability on everyone except Imoen, just to improve our saving throws. Imoen cannot, because she is not any type of a fighter class. Also, we are going to give Kiranai a boost to her constitution. We're going to set her constitution to 18, and Senashira is going to start buffing up with our protections against acid. Oh, by the way, when it comes to our equipment, we're going to talk about all these things in a moment. But basically these scrolls, the green scrolls that not only Senashira has, but also some other of our characters, and this one blue scroll are all we have to protect ourselves against acid when it comes to our spell scrolls. So we are going to save this blue scroll for a little bit later, I think, as a safety net for Senashira, because basically these blue protection from element scrolls are dispelled by breach, whereas the big upside of these green scrolls is that they are unaffected by breach. Of course, they are very vulnerable to being dispelled by remove magic or dispelled magic, but they are going to be able to stay safe on Senashira thanks to her spell immunity to abjuration. Whereas this blue protection scroll, we are generally in our pre-buff here, we are going to stay somewhat away from buffs that can be dispelled by breach, because our first encounter here is going to be against a mage, and mages nowadays, it is very common for them to have the wish spell as one of their first casts, and very often one of their most often outcomes from that wish spell is that breach that cannot be stopped and just affects everyone. So we are going to wait with some of our buffs, ones that can be dispelled by breach, although I'm still going to go with quite a few of them just in case. Of course, this wish is not guaranteed to breach us. It might be one of the other effects. But anyway, when it comes to our protection from acid, we are going to use one of them on Sarevok, and we are going to use both on Senashira. Sarevok is just going to kind of chill out with one of these scrolls for now, in case he gets dispelled by remove magic or something during the initial phase of the encounter. We'll see about that. We can, like I said, have both of those on Senashira because they are going to stay safe, and as a safety net she can keep this blue scroll. I think we're not going to use it on anyone. Now when it comes to the acid protection of our other characters, Jaheira is going to receive this Shadow Dragon Scale to have 50, and she is going to also apply this protection from acid scroll a little bit later, I think, to give her 100, and also her Armor of Faith is going to give her 20. So any combination of these buffs should work nicely for her. Now, Anaman has 25 acid resistance coming from his helmet. He is going to have another 25 coming from Armor of Faith, and another 50 coming from this scroll that we're going to apply later. Now, when it comes to Kiranai, we are not going to have any acid protections on her, but we are going to rely on her health pool here. That's why we're buffing up her constitution already. This is going to give her almost 210 hit points, and her health pool is going to be her primary means of defense when it comes to some acidic abilities. Imoen we're just going to keep far away in the second phase of the encounter, and Sarevok is probably going to apply this one scroll, or maybe two of them, depending if this 50% acid protection stays on him or not. We're also going to chug a potion of insight on Senashira. That is going to set her wisdom to 18, which is going to matter. Also, even though we might get affected by breach, I think it is going to be important to give Stone Skin to Senashira, at least. I think not for Imoen. We're just going to give her mirror images, and we are going to use this scroll of Stone Skins on Kiranai. Our next order of business is going to be, I think, getting some buffs from Anaman. We're going to get Remove Fear, Holy Power, and drop on Holy Might, just so that his performance can be a little bit better. Now Imoen is going to apply Spell Shield here. The remaining protections of Imoen and Senashira are a little bit different. Like, Senashira doesn't have Spell Shield at her disposal, for example, but Imoen doesn't have Globe of Invulnerability. Anyway, we're going to cast Haste. I think we are going to use some Armors of Faith, even though this is also a buff that is removed by Breach. This is just too good not to have, and of course we have quite a few of them memorized on our Divine Casters. Alright, we are hasted. Now Imoen is just going to get a spell immunity to abjuration. Senashira is going to get Globe of Invulnerability, and Jaheira is going to use True Seeing. We're going to want to have that active. And now Senashira can have her own spell immunity to abjuration. Alright, let's wait a second. Well, actually, just approaching the encounter is going to take a second, just so that our round can end, and so that we can be ready to cast immediately. This is a really cool looking area, kind of a majestic approach to Abazigal's lair. And here we meet, well, someone who is going to talk with us.
Who dare disturb Draconis? More pestering emissaries from the cloistered monastery. Surely when the last batch did not return, Balthazar would have learned his lesson. No, I see I am wrong. You are not brothers of the Tattooed One. I smell the taint of Bhaal.
Dang, that music is epic. I don't want to sit here in silence for so long, not to get you too bored, but this was actually a pretty fortunate turn of events that, of course, I never talk over the dialogues of our opponents, and then the music kicked in, and of course, as always in Baldur's Gate, and especially in Throne of Bhaal, it is so epic. Dang, I love this one. But anyway, Draconis here addresses us in a pretty hostile manner. Also mentioning some emissaries from the monastery. Of course, we have seen that the diplomatic envoy of Balthazar fared much better in Sendai's enclave than apparently in Abazigal's lair. But yeah, we can still try to be kind of peaceful with him. Stand aside, Draconis. This is between me and Abazigal. My father warned me of you, Senashira, the Bhaalspawn kin who would steal his destiny, and my birthright. So, this is something that is pretty widely known and pretty controversial. And doesn't make much sense, because of course all of the Bhaalspawn are supposed to have been conceived around the same time and are supposed to be at around the same age. So how is it that Abazigal already has a fully grown son? Of course there might be magic involved, or perhaps for dragons things work a little bit differently, because yes, we are going to find out in a second that Draconis and a lot of the inhabitants of this lair are going to be partially dragons at least. But yeah, it doesn't really matter all that much, but it is kind of, well, baffling might be too strong of a word, but it makes me wonder why they decided to make Draconis the son of Abazigal and not, like, anyone else. Anyway, birthright? What are we talking about? As if a mere human were even worthy of having an immortal's essence flowing through their veins. My kind are the only creatures deserving of Bhaal's taint. So yeah, from here we can also have some suspicions as to what type of creature Draconis is. Your kind? What are you talking about?
You cannot stop this. The Lord of Murder shall rise again, and I shall prove myself worthy to Abazigal by bathing in your tainted blood.
Alright, so we're going to have this encounter here with first the human form of Draconis, who starts out as a level 25 mage, and he has 190 HP, 100 acid resistance, 55 magic resistance, and 50 to fire, and his casting speed is increased by 4, which is a pretty common trait of mages at this point in the game. A lot of them these days basically have the Robe of Vecna equipped. And basically talking about his 55 resistance also reminds me about one thing. We are going to continue using the Spectral brand for a while on Jaheira, because first of all, our own protections are not ideal to protect us against these fireballs coming from the Club of Detonation, and also a lot of the opponents in here are going to be either resistant or immune to fire, so the Club of Detonation wouldn't be that impressive. It's going to be way better to take advantage of the cold damage that the Spectral brand deals. Alright, now let's move in a little bit. There are going to be some invisible stalkers, 4 of them that he's going to start out with, and of course we're going to have to see what his pre-buff selection is going to be. But I am going to back away a little bit with Senashira to showcase something else, and the reason why we buffed our wisdom to 18. Alright, here are these invisible stalkers being revealed by the true seeing of Jaheira ticking. Alright, so he has a chain contingency and all that. He does have spell shield protection, or spell immunity to abjuration, and spell turning, also energy blades, that we don't want to get interrupted by. Plenty of protective spells as well. Alright. Now, when it comes to these invisible stalkers, we can give our Skull of Death to someone, and I think that's going to be Anomen, not to reduce the hit points of Jaheira. And Anomen just can quickly cast that in the bunch of them. That should eliminate all of them. We're going to go back a little bit with Senashira and cast a Wish of our own. And we're going to talk about this spell in a second. And I think that might be the initial spell of Draconis as well, his first spell. I think since he does start with Spell Shield, we are going to just quickly get rid of it with Saravok's Rod of Reversal, and then probably use Imoen's spell sequencer. We'll see how this is going to progress. Right, he did cast Wish, and yes, indeed, this is the Breach outcome. I really wish we would be able to showcase a lot of the other different outcomes from the opponent's wishes. I think we've seen the double duration time stop and improved alacrity, but I'm not sure if we have seen the improved haste on the whole team. They can also get hardiness, like basically the caster and all of his allies in the room basically get hardness or improved haste. I'm not sure, we haven't really been able to see those all that much. But anyway, this is not going to do too much. It is going to dispel the Stone Skins on Senashira, Kirinai, the Armors of Faith on Jaheira and Anomen, but none of our protections against acid are going to be affected. And yeah, we're just going to have to go from here, and we soon should have our own wish to deal with here, so we'll see how that is going to go. Alright, all of these invisible stalkers have been dealt with. And yeah, we're just basically waiting for our own stuff. Our Ruby Ray of Reversal has been unleashed, so his spell shield is going to be dispelled in a second. We're going to be able to continue with Imoen, and we're going to see about our own wish because our genie is about to spawn and initiate a conversation with us. So I think we might already unleash Imoen's stuff and see how this wish progresses. Alright, so there are going to be many differences between the Limited Wish and the Wish spell, and this one is way more random. This spell is also affected by Wisdom, but even when you have 18 Wisdom, which opens up the best kind of bracket of wishes available through this spell, it is still random because we are going to have, I think, 5 or 6 options out of 25. So even though we kind of unlock the best pool of spells, and we're going to have like the most positive options, because there are going to be some negative ones as well, well, it's not going to be that great. And since this spell is so random, that's why I don't use it very often, because it doesn't really add any reliable element to a strategy that I want to use. But anyway, let's go through it. Standing before you is a genie of immense power, the air thick with electricity around it. It regards you coolly. Greetings to you, Spellweaver. Are you ready to begin negotiations? Negotiations? What do you mean? The spell you have cast is an attempt to temporarily control vast cosmic power. It is unstable and therefore only truly useful in combat events, unless you have years to devote to the formulation of your wish, of course. It is that formulation that requires negotiation. The genie pulls a quill and a paper scroll from the air, grinning. Since you do not have years to waste, you will attempt to describe to me what you desire from your wish. And I, here the genie looks pleased, will use my vast intelligence to distort your purpose as I please. Don't feel bad. The forces at work here are such that it is not often that one gets what one truly hopes for. But you can certainly try. The wise often do well, and you, Spellweavers, are quite often wise, yes? It taps its quill thoughtfully on its head. Do you wish to begin, then? Yep. The genie nods. As you say. Quickly, the two of you begin negotiating a complex contract. The genie is tricky, carefully attempting to twist your meaning with words, legal phrases, and clauses that you can barely understand. Fortunately, you are quick to catch on. Before long, you begin tricking the genie's phrasing yourself, leaving it quite frustrated. You still doubt you'll get what you want, but chances are the genie won't be able to trick you. The contract complete, the genie dons a pair of spectacles and looks it over with an arched brow. Very well, Spellcaster. I can interpret the items listed here in the following ways. Choose carefully which you would prefer. So let's see. We can all get Greater Death Blow, create a random wand, which is actually pretty nice because you can get a Wand of Spell Striking, but of course you can get one of the least powerful wands as well, like a Wand of Cursing or Wand of Fear. Alright, level drain 2 levels from each party member, or reduce our HP or reduce our wisdom is not something that we are interested in. So yeah, basically we got nothing. We should go with the wand, because greater death blow is not going to do anything. But yeah, there are some really good options from Wish, and I casted it here in our first encounter because one of its possible properties is that we could get basically rested and refresh all of our spells, which would be kind of cool after not resting manually, but of course would also kind of ruin the purpose of doing this without resting, with, you know, doing things differently. So anyway, let's just get a wand and let's see what it is. Oh, it is a Wand of Fear, so thanks for nothing, Genie. Anyway, now let's continue with the fight. We have dispelled the Draconis, and now we could use Kirinai, who hasn't acted yet, to dispense a quick breach. Let's position ourselves already here, and perhaps interrupt his next spell. I'm going to see what that is going to entail. Now, when it comes to our protections, we should get Armors of Faith at least on both Jaheira and Anamen, because of course not only are they going to increase their acid protection that we need for phase 2, but also Armors of Faith, of course, give them physical damage mitigation as well. But Anamen acted, of course, by using the Skull of Death. Let's see if Jaheira can... Yeah, she quickly was able to reapply her stuff. We're going to try to do it with Anamen soon as well. Now, when it comes to Kirinai, I think we can go closer with her. There's nothing really on her that could be dispelled. Well, aside from, of course, our potions of invulnerability, we want to keep them on until a little bit later. There might be some remove magics coming soon, but we'll see.
You think I can be defeated so easily? More evidence of your species' inferiority.
Witness the future, Senashira. So yeah, we have burned down his HP quite quickly here, and now phase 2 is going to commence, in which he is going to turn to his true form, I guess, that of a brown dragon. Alright, and here he also gets a heal and activates Death Field, which just kills summons around him, and this heal unfortunately triggers a little bit too quickly, so he is badly injured still, because this heal only heals him up like to the max of his human form hit points, so he is at around 200 right now, but as a dragon he has actually 600 health. But do not worry, we are going to give him a chance and use our own Rod of Resurrection to actually heal him with a charge of that. We'll see about that in a moment. Now let's talk about Draconis for a moment. So now, his dragon form, he is a level 30 brown dragon with 605 HP. He has the same resistances, 100 to acid, 50 to fire, and 55 magic resistance, but also the typical for dragons 25 physical resistance. He has 3 attacks per round with 25 strength, of course, as he hits as like a truck, as all dragons do. When it comes to his spells, he has an assortment of like dispelling spells, of course, and protective spells, and can also use heal on himself, which is a pretty powerful move. If he uses it at low health, it's basically a heal of 600. And when it comes to his draconic abilities, of course, he has his Wing Buffet, his Dragon Fear. He has a special invisibility spell that makes him invisible and gives him a big speed boost, with which he can just kind of zoom around the battlefield and kind of reposition. And also, his Dragon Breath is an acid one. So that's why, of course, we care about our acid protections here. And now that this phase 2 has started, we are going to do a couple of things. Jaheira acted not too long ago, so she might not be able to apply her scroll yet, but I think we might just use her heal first. He has Armor Faith, whereas Anamen doesn't, so I think the first action of Anamen is actually going to be applying the scroll and then Armor Faith. Anamen we're just going to keep way the hell away from him, and not to endanger her, because she of course is not protected against acid. Now Saravok probably is going to be able to apply the other 50% acid resistance. Now, Kirinai is going to use Tensor's Transformation, and she is going to cast that from a bit of a distance, and that is going to give her a major health boost, with which she is basically going to, you know, deal with that acid breath. And with Senashira, we don't really need to do anything, so we're just going to wait until his pre-buffs trigger, and we'll see if we need to, and how we want to dispel him. Alright, we did heal him, now he is uninjured. He has his full 600 HP back, so let's prepare this scroll on Jaheira for a little bit later. Yeah, Saravok has his stuff. And now I think the first order of business is actually going to... we have to prioritize acid resistance. I was debating renewing Armor of Faith on Anomen first, but this is not going to be so. Alright, first let's start casting Tensor's Transformation on Kirinai and see what he's going to have here. Oh, I think he's slowed still by our Flail of Ages. He must have... yeah, he must have gotten slowed by that, and he is still slowed, even though he changed forms. Anyway, he has Spell Deflection, Spell Immunity to Abjuration, and Protection from Magical Weapons. I think this lends him... or itself, the situation, lends itself well to a quick spell sequencer coming from Seneshira that's going to dispel his spell protections, and then I think we're just going to discreetly, from max distance, quickly use Breach on Imoen to dispel his protection from magical weapons, and we should be ready then. Alright, that is in effect already. Now, our Tensor's Transformation is also activated, which gives basically 400 hit points to Kirinai. So now she's like, come at me, bro. Unleash that acid breath on me, bro. Let's see how big of a dent it can make in my health pool, bro. Alright, now she is ready to go in. And yeah, once this breach hits, we are going to be able to damage him. Now, Anomen, did you apply your acid protection? Yes, you did. Very nice. So everyone should have at least 75, around that kind of amount. Alright, and now we're able to damage him. Oh yeah, here's his invisibility. I think since we are surrounding him nicely, he should not be able to, like, go anywhere too much. And we still... okay, we don't have our true... oh yeah, we do. That icon is not that visible, but it is there. We still have our true seeing. It tells that he is like non-detected, but that doesn't work properly. He is... we are able to dispel his illusions. Anyway, let's kind of spread out a little bit, because I think he might... well, he is certainly capable of unleashing a remove magic on us. We'll see if he is going to do that. So let's not make his job easier when it comes to affecting all of us with it. And as you can see with this spirit animation, he is immune to Saravok's Vorpal properties coming from Ravager, so Saravok is not going to trivialize the encounter in that way. And also many of the prominent opponents here are going to be immune to his Deathbringer Assault as well, so we're not going to be able to deal with them that way. But he is badly injured. I don't actually want to kill him just yet. Let's actually give him a chance to, like, show us some of his spells. Maybe he's going to do that heal. Alright, there we go. Now let's resume. No, not Imoen. But yeah, I think that slow coming from Flail of Ages, you can see how much work it does. It's just great. And yeah, here's that Acid Breath. It basically dealt like 70 damage to Kirinai, which is not even 1/4 of her health pool now. So we don't really care about that. And when it comes to our other characters, it was very minuscule damage amounts. Alright, so we can keep going. I think Anomen can get his Armor of Faith now. Or was that still... yeah, that was still interrupted. I did that too quickly. Of course, basically Dragon Breaths hit like at least one more time in SCS. They are buffed up. So yeah, it was actually 100 damage to Kirinai. So that was actually 1/4 of her health pool. But yeah, that last round, basically, that last portion of the acid damage coming onto Anomen actually interrupted his Armor of Faith, which is just not a good move. I should have waited a little bit more. But yeah, I think we're doing pretty well. We don't need to really apply anything. Now that we are done with this Acid Breath, maybe we'll see if we want to do anything on Jaheira. We might want to use the scroll on her, but I think before Draconis would be ever able to unleash another breath of his, he is going to be long dead by then. Yep, there we go. Cool, we have been able to see a little bit of what he had to offer. And yeah, now let's loot his spoils. I think we're going to change the armor here on Jaheira, and we are not going to need the acid resistance anymore. Let's just quickly reapply some stuff, re-equip some stuff that we want. We also have these Jan's spectroscopes prepared and the Boots of the Gargoyle, which we are going to use later. Oh, and we also have this slashing armor class belt that Kirina is going to be wearing in this place, because, of course, well, her armor class, thanks to Tensor's transformation in this fight, was pretty good, but when it comes to her other fights, Tensor's transformation is going to expire soon, so she is going to get a little bit of a boost from her belt, and she is also going to use a greater evasion at one point, so all of these boosts should perhaps make her avoid some attack here and there, because most of the opponents inside are going to be using slashing damage. So this is going to be fitting on her. And yeah, so now we have Draconis' head, which is going to allow us entry inside Abazigal's lair. And we also have these bracers, Suzanne's bracers, which are monk only, but of course a thief with use any item is going to be able to take advantage of them as well. And they are a bit of an upgrade over the blessed bracers that increase hit points by 10. These ones increase it by 15 and also give a minor boost to armor class. I don't think we're going to make use of those. And I think we can actually go inside and see what awaits us there. Just kind of deal with the welcoming party that Abazigal is going to have here for us. Here we have Ekim Sire saying, Draconis has fallen, lock down the Enclave. They must not reach Lord Abazigal. He's basically going to sound the alarm, which is going to make the doors here locked, and we're going to have to find other means of going around. We are going to start detecting traps because we are literally standing on one of them here, and what is cool So pretty cool concept for a creature, but as you'll see, he's not going to live long, but he has in his possession a very important item that we're going to need here. Also, one major change coming from SCS already is that we are going to have these lizard men who are actually pretty tough. They are level 21 berserkers that have high level abilities. They're going to have their berserker enrage, and they usually use hardiness first, and they are going to basically with those end up with those kind of abilities, end up having around 160 or 170 HP, you know, 40% physical damage mitigation. They can unleash some damage of their own, so they are way tougher than the lesser earth elementals that would greet us here. But yeah, let's just go ahead with the fight here. I think when it comes to these lizard men, we can throw in a little glitter dust to blind them here. Fortunately, they don't have any magical resistances and anything like that. And we still have our haste active, so we should be able to dish out some pretty good damage. I'm not going to heal Kirina because once her Tensor's transformation expires, you know, of course we are not going to have access to like 300 hit points. So she is going to end up with full HP anyway, once her buffs expire. And now they are activating that hardiness. I think first they activated the Berserker Enrage. Anyway, once we loot this wyvern here, we're going to find out that he had this empty breath potion flask, which is going to be essential for us being able to progress further into Abazigal's lair, and he also has a stone of flesh, or stone to flesh scroll, which is going to be very useful for us as well. So here we have these pools that we can use, our cursor changes here, but we're only going to be able to use one, because most of these pools include a series of tunnels that are just too long, too vast to traverse through on just one breath if we hold our breath. So we are going to have to make use of that breath potion flask coupled with a certain liquid that we're going to be able to fill it with. And they actually have the Suriris blade, the halberds +2 from Baldur's Gate 1 that you might remember. Just quickly pick them up. Actually, we can just stash the flask as well. Alright, and I think before we progress through these pools and go through all of this whole sequence and see all of the improvements coming from SCS and whatnot, we're going to basically start out with that in the next episode. So for now, I thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time.